President Trump has promised a new strategy for fighting terrorism, including ISIS. This week in his congressional address, he signaled a big change when he used a phrase President Obama refused to utter for 8 years.
We are also taking strong measures to protect our nation from radical Islamic terrorism.
President Trump clearly has a different style, but is there substance behind his fresh approach? We asked the leader of the Senate Homeland Security Committee, Republican Ron Johnson. On terrorism, we've heard from many federal officials who've said they've been more or less banned from using the word radical Islamic extremism in recent years. Policies have been shaped in such a way that some of them say make it very difficult to go after radical Islamic terrorists. Do you see things changing with the new administration? What is the new strategy?
Well, you are referring to policies under the former administration, and whether it's President Obama, it starts at the top. Calling ISIS or referring to ISIS the JV team is just that denial of reality. When it comes to Islamic terror, when it comes to our debt and deficit, my guess is this administration, we take a look at the appointments to his cabinet. These are individuals from the private sector that have to solve problems dealing with real information, not denying reality. So certainly I'm hopeful that the next administration will approach the world fact-based, not afraid to acknowledge these realities, and act accordingly.
A couple of cases. Russia twice warned the U.S. that the Boston Marathon bomber, Sarnarev, was a violent radical Islamist, and our intel agencies questioned him, but the FBI didn't conduct surveillance because they said they didn't have enough information. Omar Mateen, responsible for murdering 51 people in Orlando, was investigated for terror ties twice by the FBI, but those cases were closed. He even told his co-workers he had terrorist ties. The father of the New York, New Jersey bombing suspect, Ahmed Rahami, said he previously notified the FBI that his son was a terrorist. And Esteban Santiago allegedly murdered 5 people and injured 8 at a Florida airport after previously walking into an FBI office and claiming he was linked to ISIS. If our intel experts can't capture people who are literally placed before them, how can we have confidence that our system will catch people that are harder to find?
Well, first of all, I don't think we have 100% confidence. It's the challenge we face, the number of people that fit that type of profile, the number of potential terrorist cases that the FBI is tracking down. The basic problem in a free society that does adhere to the principle of innocent until proven guilty, what do you do with the not guilty yet? It's an enormous challenge, which I think should direct our efforts, understanding what our priorities ought to be. We have to defeat ISIS. As long as ISIS remains, they're going to continue to inspire this type of inspired lone wolf attack that we've certainly experienced here in the United States. We have to be concerned about directed wolf pack attacks. We've seen that around the world as well. So we have to address, by taking it seriously enough, acknowledging the reality that Islamic terror is a growing, metastasizing, evolving problem, and we have to address it because it's impossible to be 100% perfect here in the United States.
By all accounts, Islamic extremist terrorism has vastly expanded in recent years. On President Obama's way out of the office, though, he declared no foreign terrorist organization has successfully planned and executed an attack in the U.S. And he's right if he's talking about, at least by his own account, lone wolf attacks, which have happened here in larger numbers, versus these networked attacks directed directly by ISIS, for example. Does he deserve credit for what he says, having no ISIS-connected or al-Qaeda-connected attacks on U.S. soil?
He deserves credit for ordering the attack on Osama bin Laden, killing that terrorist. The fact of the matter is we haven't had an al-Qaeda directed massive scale attack here in the U.S., and that's a good thing, but we have seen these inspired lone wolves. We've seen them really proliferate around the world. Historic blunder, just the strategic blunder, historic proportions, bugging out of Iraq, not leaving a stabilizing force, has allowed the events of Syria to spin out of control, that really allowed the genocide of, by some estimates, more than 500,000 Syrians. The rise of ISIS. I don't think we would have seen ISIS rise to this level had we left a stabilizing force behind. So President Obama has an awful lot to account for. Don't give him a whole lot of credit. I think the world is in far greater turmoil. I think America is less safe after 8 years of his administration.
Will it be something that can be turned around in short order?
Well, we certainly witnessed after the Carter administration, President Ronald Reagan coming in and reestablishing America's credibility in the world. That's going to be a challenge for President Trump. He's going to have to first establish the credibility of America.
By the way, Johnson says restoring U.S. credibility starts with restoring the economy.